Imagine logging into a server where the admin don't just mute you for saying the wrong thing. They delete your account, take your house, and make sure your family never gets a job again. Welcome to the Soviet Union. Most people think the USSR was just about bad cars, grey buildings, and waiting in line for 3 hours to buy a single roll of toilet paper. But that's just the tourist version. The reality was a psychological horror game that lasted for 70 years. And if you want to understand why Ukrainians today are fucking with a level of resilience that baffles the world, you have to look at they survived, because they aren't just fighting an army, they are fighting a ghost. Let's get one of the biggest myths out of the way. Equality. The Soviet propaganda machine loved this word. Everyone is equal. Everyone gets a piece of the pie. Yeah, right. It was the ultimate pay to win server, just hidden behind red banners. While the regular citizens were starving and sharing 40 square meters apartments with 3 other families, the party elites, the nomenclatura, were living the VIP lifestyle. They had secret supermarkets filled with Western goods, private hospitals, and luxury cars. It was basically an oligarchy pretending to be a commune. It's like the server admin giving himself infinite health and premium gear while telling the level 1 players that struggle builds character. The original band hammered the KGB, but the real horror wasn't the poverty, it was the paranoia. The KGB, the secret police, engineered a society where trust was a literal liability. You didn't have privacy, period. Your neighbor might be an informant. Your coworker might report you for a cheap joke you made about the government. Even kids were taught in school that loyalty to the state was higher than loyalty to your parents. Imagine living in a reality where your private chat logs are constantly being monitored, and one sarcastic comment gets you a one-way ticket to a forced labor camp in Siberia. The KGB didn't just control the media, they control reality. If they said the sky was red, you'd nod it and bought a red umbrella. This bred the Homo Sovieticus, the Soviet man, a person conditioned to keep their head down, never ask questions, and never ever stand out. But if the Holodomor, the ultimate server wipe. But if you want to know the absolute core of Ukrainian resistance today, we have to talk about 1932, the Holodomor. Ukraine was known as the bread basket of Europe. The soil is incredibly rich, but Joseph Stalin needed to crush Ukrainian spirit and their desire for independence. So he didn't just send troops, he weaponized hunger. The Soviet government confiscated the grain. Then they confiscated the seeds. Then they locked the borders of the villages so no one could leave. Millions of Ukrainians starved to death on their own fertile land, while the USSR exported that same stolen grain to the West to buy industrial equipment. It wasn't a natural famine. It was a calculated extermination, a deliberate wipe. Breaking the code. So when you see a Ukrainian gamer, athlete, or soldier today, you aren't just looking at someone defending a piece of land on a map. You're looking at a generation that finally broke the Soviet code. They shattered the Homo Sovieticus mindset. They refused to keep their heads down. They know exactly what it means to be fully controlled by Moscow because your grandparents lived through that nightmare. They know that cheap jokes and the propaganda are just a smokescreen for absolute control. The Soviet Union tried to delete their identity, their culture, and their lives. They failed, and that generation memory is exactly why this fight will never end in submission. Why do you guys think in the echo of the Soviet Union still the biggest threat to Eastern Europe today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next drop deep dive.